few seconds.
Oh, yeah, that's Peterborough.
Okay, we're live. So, three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Everything Geek podcast. I'm your host, Ruari, and joining me today is a very special guest. We have Quasheem the Herring, best known for playing co-pilot Lieutenant Glass in the Suicide Squad, a Commonwealth soldier in The Walking Dead, Frankie in Grimy Situation, Ace in Black Money, Mike in Loyal for It All, Armon in Irreversible Desires, D'Lo in Intractable, Eddie Brown and Sean in Fatal Attraction, and Reggie Kimbro in hashtag Text Me When You Get Home. Quasheem's behind-the-scenes credits include a director, writer, executive producer, casting director, location manager, and assistant script supervisor on Holla, a director, co-writer, and executive producer, casting director, and assistant script supervisor on Untouchable, director, producer, and casting director on Wish 01 and Woe, a director on CheckMate Official, and a graphic designer on Black Money. How are you today, Quasheem?
Man, if that ain't the greatest intro I've ever had, man, you did that. You did that, man. I'm doing amazing. That's an amazing intro. I'm so happy to be here. Rory, I really appreciate you taking the time to do your homework and give me a chance on this great platform. So I'm really excited to speak with you, and I'm doing amazing.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah, I love that reaction to the intro. And yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today. Very excited.
Yes, cheers. Mm-hmm.
So, getting right to my questions for you, Quasheem, can you tell me how you got into acting and filmmaking?
Oh man. So as a kid, I grew up in the church. My mom, she was a youth director, so I was doing plays, whether it be Easter plays, Christmas plays, different plays like that. And I remember her making sure I got my lines. I always made sure I was the lead. Took my script, said you better know it, and I loved that whole theater aspect. And then when I got into high school, I got into theater. I also have a theater background and other different theater things that I did in college. And I don't know, I feel like Shakespeare brought me into it away from the gospel side. But what made me stay is just, I think telling stories with film, TV, theater is the most societal outlet to be able to motivate, entertain, and educate. So,
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. Not sure if you saw, but there was a fly flying around here above my head.
oh, I didn't see it.
The fly is clearly excited.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So viewers might see a random fly moving about. I don't know.
Okay, right on the
Strange.
fly.
Yeah.
Like,
um, yeah. So can you tell me how you were originally cast in the Suicide Squad and The Walking Dead, respectively?
well, we'll start with the Suicide Squad. So I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time, and I had just got cast to play in Tomorrow War, but it was called Ghost Draft back then. Okay. And they were like, there's this new project coming up called, they didn't call it the Suicide Squad, they called it something else. And they wanted military people. So I went to this boot camp they had. We all were in there in the middle of a hall with a uniform and guns and just walking back and forth, doing different cadences, right? And I didn't get picked because they were letting people know who come back the second day. I didn't get picked. So I went home. It's a little bummed, you know. A week passed by and I get a text message. Then I got a phone call. Then I got an email. And it was urgent. So I called the casting director back. I said, "Hey, you guys are looking for me?" She said, "Yes." You, she said, "Okay, I need you to be sitting down." I said, "Okay, what's up?" She was like, "You have been director selected to be in this superhero movie, right?" So she was kind of vague. And then I was like, "Well, I got this other project coming." And she's like, "This is the number one project in Atlanta. This out trumps everything. If you're on anything, we can drag you off of it because this is the most important production that we're doing." And I said, "Okay." So then she tells me what it is. And I said, "Oh man, that's amazing." So she tells me what days they need me there. A week later, she calls me and says, "The days have been changed. We need you more open available because of the weather. And it is a high priority." And once they did that, man, I took the role. So it was kind of cool. Because he saw my picture and I guess he fell in love with me, I guess.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And yeah, I mean that's interesting as well, because as you mentioned, you didn't get called back originally, so you thought you hadn't got any role, but
Yeah.
just amazing how things can change like that, you know.
And this was a way better role because I was just going to be a soldier getting hit with squids and stuff. Like, I wasn't going to be like on the camera and really be in the movie like that.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. That's brilliant. How about The Walking Dead? How are you casting it?
So that one, okay. So before the pandemic hit, they were doing the last episode before the cliffhanger, right after they killed that one guy. Carol killed that one guy, and so they needed a whole bunch of ex-military. So they needed about 15 of us. So they wanted certain sizes, and I fit that. I had to drive down to Atlanta, try on the costume, and if it fit, I got booked. But if it didn't fit, I wasn't going to get booked. So everything fit. We waited on the call, and they told me, "Okay, we got our shooting date. We want to offer you the role," and they offered me the role, and that's how I got that one.
Well, that's fascinating. Like having to go all the way to Atlanta to try on the
Yeah,
costume. Like it's a gamble, but it paid off.
it definitely was a gamble because I'm like, man, all 34s ain't the same, all mediums ain't the same, all gloves ain't the same, and this wasn't no regular uniform. This is like a 20-something piece uniform, and everything had to fit. I'm like, oof.
Yeah, yeah. Even just seen on screen the Commonwealth soldier uniforms, like they looked like they had so
Yes,
much detail on them and so much
very much
work on it.
correct.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. But were you a fan of DC or The Walking Dead prior to your castings on
DC
either?
definitely. DC, I like DC. I like Marvel. Walking Dead, I watched the first season and I kind of fell off. So I wasn't big fans of The Walking Dead, but I was big fans of DC. I know who James Gunn was. I knew what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, and I knew some of the other people that were in there: Margot Robbie, Jay Courtney, Idris Alba, John Cena, my boy Rourke. He played in Tombstone. Michael Roker. So yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. Mini story, right? So I get on set for Suicide Squad. I'm in the hair and makeup room, and all of a sudden somebody says, "Hey, what's up?" And I look, it's Michael Roker, right? He's getting fitted for his blonde wig. And he's just talking to me. And we're just having a conversation. So that was like so cool because I didn't know who it was at first because all I saw was the wig. But then when he turned, I said, "Oh shoot, Mike." So it's cool.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, I mean Michael Rooker is such a great actor as well.
Yes.
Like, yeah, yeah, that's incredible. It's nice even when the stars of a film will just, have a conversation, talk to you like, like
Yes.
you've known each other a long time.
Agreed. I remember the first person to talk to me on the Walking Dead set was Carol. Carol was so nice. Like, she just, hey, how you doing? How's your day? And I'm like, oh, shoot. Carol, what's up? So yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's brilliant. What were you told about the parts of co-pilot Lieutenant Glass and the Commonwealth soldier when you were about to shoot your first scenes for those respectively?
Man, so the co-pilot, okay. First off, the co-pilot role switched because I was supposed to be the logger that sits with the people, right? And then I got switched to co-pilot after already being on set, changing clothes and all that good stuff, right? So first day of set, I find out they switched me. They're giving me a different uniform. Cool. We're waiting and holding for a very, very long time. Got dressed, now we're waiting and holding. And they have this prototype airplane, helicopter. And they bring me into the helicopter. I'm there with my boy Stevie. He played the other pilot. And I'm sitting there. It's very tight, very tight, very tight. So I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden, they turn on this beam. I'm talking about not just a regular light. It was a beam. I'm talking about there was so much heat coming from this light. It was like burning my skin off. It was so bright. But they were trying to emphasize the imp that was going to be coming like an explosion. And they were emphasizing certain things to be able to bring it to where they could put it on the green screen or whatever else they were trying to do. I sat in that helicopter co-pilot seat for over 6, maybe 8 hours. They gave me maybe 2 breaks, and it was a lot. It was fun, but it was a lot. It was very uncomfortable. But what's so funny is I'm sitting in the co-pilot seat, and they're going through the rehearsal of the lines. And in the scene, Margot Robbie is late to get on the plane, right? Because she says, "Sorry, y'all, I had to do a number 2." Well, this is the backstory. She was late to set. So I'm like, wait a minute. So I didn't know the scene yet, right? So I didn't notice until I watched the movie. But she's late coming on set. So when she walks in, we're waiting on her this whole time. So it was so surreal because she like said the line, and I'm like, we have been waiting on her. So that makes sense. And it was just like everybody was laughing. James Gunn really let everybody do a lot of improv, and he tried like different words with Pete Davidson was doing certain things. And of course, Lieutenant Flag, he was doing different things. Margot Robbie was absolutely amazing. And these characters that were on this plane were like really intricate characters, which is so crazy because they die after 5 minutes. But they put so much time into these characters. And then Walking Dead, I got to set, it was a cold, cold day. That got my first trailer. I'll never forget. Got my first trailer. They were like, this is your trailer. This is where you'll be at. If you need anything, let us know. I'm in there using the heat. I'm in there drinking the drinks. If I found some snacks or something, and I'm just sitting there just basking in it all. Like, I'm loving it, right? So we're getting our helmets put on and our finishing touches. And they're telling us what we got to do on the scene, right? And the director goes, I need somebody that can really hold the real gun for some of these close-up shots. And I was like, I can do it. He was like, yeah, you. So he gives me a real M16, and we're running this scene. We probably ran this scene 2-3 hours. Same part, just us running out to put them all at gunpoint right after Ezekiel says his line. And we were running, like really running, like actually running, freezing cold. It was intense. It came out amazing once it came out, and then I ended up getting picked up for later episodes, and that's how I ended up being the cover art of the Splinter Cell episode, because they loved me. Like the ADs, anytime the director was like, "We need a soldier for this," they like Q. Every time it was Q. Every time it was me, man. I just built great relationships, and I was very blessed and fortunate to be able to be on that set, man. And they are punctual. When I tell you they're punctual to the point where from every minute of the day they know what's going on. Like even the command center coming on, like security was crazy. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. That's brilliant. And that's just incredible how, all that the military training just pays off, because, even just working on the walkie there, they're like, they need someone that looks natural holding a gun. And you're just like, yeah, no, I'll do it.
Correct. And I think that was one thing that stood me out with other people too, was they were ex-military, but I've always had that military mindset. So it's so easy to just go into that mode and to enjoy that whole thing. So
absolutely, that's brilliant. What would you say are the similarities you see between yourself and co-pilot Lieutenant Glass, if any?
Honestly, I saw a lot of similarities because he reminded me of a captain that I knew when I was in the military. There's this captain named Captain Nichols, right? And this guy, he's really cool, laid back, but he was very stern, very punctual. And I kind of pulled it from that, our relationship that me and Captain Nichols had. And yeah, the similarity was his poise, his demeanor, because I really didn't get to say a lot, but there was a lot of part of that scene that was cut. But the part that they ended up keeping, even though you get a quick glimpse, I think you got enough of the poise and the meticulousness, especially with me doing the dial and just having that face. So it was good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna continue.
No. I was saying, with the Commonwealth soldier, though, I would say that was more of me because it reminded me of being in basic training. It reminded me of being downrange in Kuwait. It reminded me of going to war, And I think one of the biggest things that really zapped me into the character was when I touched that real gun, I felt like I was back. Like I really felt like I was back in it. I hadn't carried a weapon of that caliber. That weapon is very heavy, very heavy. So as soon as I got it, I had to throw it on my shoulder. I had to like really, really tame it and conform back into that type of soldier. So that was a major similarity for me.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And what was the Commonwealth soldier costume like to wear? Like, was it comfortable, uncomfortable?
Oh my God. That thing was 20-something pieces, right? So there was this butt plate that if you had it on, you couldn't sit down, and they had to unfasten it so you could sit down. Now, I'm just imagining it, right? So we got on long john pants, a turtleneck shirt, then the uniform. So then you got 4 or 5 different leg pieces. You have 2 leg pieces for the bottom of your leg, 2 leg pieces for the top of your leg on both legs, right? Then you got your boots. Then you got your armbands, your elbow pads, your helmet, your neck strap, and then you had your butt plate. Then you had the different things that's on your wrist. It was so many pieces. And on top of that, we weren't allowed to put it on by ourselves. They had to put it on. So we had to stand there like a statue and let them put the outfits on. So it was definitely different. And it was very heavy. It was very uncomfortable, but I enjoyed it, man. Because I mean, it was one of those things where when you put it on, you just felt important, and I really felt like I was something official. So it was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fair. And it just makes it more rewarding, doesn't it? Seeing the episodes when they
Yes.
come out and being like, okay, I had to wear all those pieces of the costume, but now it was worth it. I can see
Yes.
myself in the show.
Agreed. It's like, man, I better see myself. And I remember one night was one of the scenes, and it was for all the actors out there, there's not all the actors, but all the people that don't act, there's this scene called the rap scene. It's the martini up scene. And it ended up being a close-up of me because they needed me, my goggles, and my stance so that they could recreate this comic book image of when the Commonwealth soldier was looking at them and it was a reflection in their goggles. And they were able to use me, and then all the ADs were like, come on, Q, you got to do this right, man. Because once you do it, we're done for the night. So so much pressure, and it was so much fun. So much fun. I really enjoyed it. A lot of people like, man, you get excited, but we can't really see you. I said, let me tell you something. You look into my eyes, you can see it's me. And understand that regardless of having a mask on or not, it felt. You can't tell me a moment that can outdo that for me because of the caliber of that show, the caliber of that character, and that moment was right in between my beginning of my career. So very, very much blessed, grateful, and thankful for that because a lot of people can't say that. You can Google it. You can actually Google it and bring up my picture right there looking at you guys with the goggles. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's just a great shot in the show itself. I mean, as you said, of course, it's a great comic book reference as well, but such a great shot. You can see, the reflection of the heroes in your character's goggles. Yeah, it's brilliant.
So much fun.
Yeah, for sure. What was your reaction to being cast in the Suicide Squad and The Walking Dead, respectively?
I'm gonna be honest with you. When they told me the Suicide Squad, it took me a while to really realize this was real, right? They told me I was cast, but then they told me we'll let you know when we're shooting because we have these multiple dates. And I'm like, man, okay. So when they finally called me, it's like, okay, we need you here tomorrow. I'm driving. This was far out. Like the studio they used for this was far in Atlanta. And I'm driving really far. And the reaction for me was when I came through the gate and they drove me on a golf cart to costumes, and I just saw all these pictures up, right? And then they put me in my little tent to get changed. And I had my outfit on, and then they brought me to set, and I just was hearing all this commotion on me. But when I got into that plane, oh man, I felt like a dream come true, man. It was like, yo, I'm in a real superhero movie. This is gonna be big. I be able to see it. The only thing I didn't get to see Idris Elba. It was so crazy because every time I was leaving, he was coming in. It was funny. We never crossed paths. That's the one thing I was mad about. I didn't get to see him, but yeah. The reaction was huge. And then the biggest reaction was The Walking Dead because it was 15 of us. That episode was a cliffhanger. When they needed us for the additional episodes that got added to the season, they only needed 5. And I haven't told nobody this. So I knew they picked me, right? And I had to drive down, get my COVID test and all that. The day I got to set, they were like, "You're Quasheem?" I said, yeah, man. Everybody talks about you. I said, what? They was like, yeah, man. They was like, we gotta have him. He's one of the best ones we had. And they were just so excited that you accepted. and I'm here just to make your job easier, taking you to different places, getting your COVID test done. And they were just like, you were just number one on the list out of the 15. And I'm like, what? So then when I got on set, I'm waiting, because now you're just waiting to see when they're going to use you, And when they started calling my name to use me for like every single scene, and it was like even that scene where you had the ones chasing Yumiko, and then you had the other ones grabbing the others, but then you had the main guy trying to grab Princess and walking up to her. To be chosen for that is crazy. When that episode starts, the first thing they see is me. Like, you can't tell me that that's normal. Like when that episode starts, you see me. Me and me only. Starts with me and my helmet, looking at them, and then I just remember doing the movements and having to do that. And it just takes me back to a point where it was so much love, man. They treated us so good. They treated me so good, and I love that scene. I would love to work with them again. I just don't have a chance to go to Atlanta as much as I used to. But it hurt me when I was in London during the pandemic after I filmed that part, and they were about to start back up again, and they were calling me, hey, can you come back? I'm like, I'm in London right now. They was like, well, when you coming back? We want you. And I'm like, wow. To be wanted, but to be a soldier that much, even though I didn't have one line because they did a dub on it because they wanted a certain type of voice for that part, unreal. That's why my ranking is the way it is on IMDb, because of Suicide Squad and The Walking Dead. My ranking, I always will accredit it to those two things, because those two things catapulted me to the top. So,
yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. Yeah, that's just great, especially with The Walking Dead there, to be wanted so much that they kept trying to get you back even after you'd moved to London.
I'm telling you, every time they were like, we need one soldier. You! I'm like, yo, every time. And the other soldiers, they were looking at me with a little bit, you know what I'm saying? They was a little like, you could tell they was a little hot in the car, like, why he keep getting picked? But I was there to do a job, so I was excited. So excited.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. Were you given a lot of freedom with coming up with the performances for co-pilot Lieutenant Glass and the Commonwealth soldier? Or did those crews respectively have it in their minds how they wanted them portrayed?
Yes and no. Lieutenant Glass, they let me really do whatever I wanted to do in the co-pilot seat. I tried to like go in a line. They wouldn't let me keep it. But as far as like the movements and stuff, it really was me, because they just were like, we're going to have the camera on you, just act like a pilot. And I just thought of different things. And what's crazy is they got me turning the dial. They got that piece. Because, a lot of times they might just catch you just sitting there. No, I'm sitting there, I'm turning the dial, like I'm really in there. And then with Walking Dead, they pretty much had that character the way they wanted him. But I did a certain walk that they let me do, a certain bravado that I wanted to show, and then the different cadences, they let me do a little bit of freestyle in a way, but still in the same wheelhouse that they wanted it to be. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And on that similar note, what was your process like in bringing both characters to life?
Honestly, the captain one, Lieutenant Glass, it was just preparing to be military, but I've never flown before, so it was just like just thinking about, in this moment, I'm taking the most badass superheroes to go fight this good fight, and I need to be as poised as possible to not make them fear for their life, because they really are going into an ambush. But I can't show that. What I have to show is we are ready, we're focused, and we're all about business. So that was a huge thing. And then with The Walking Dead, what prepared me for that was just my past military experience, man. I'm a drill guy. I love marching, love cadences, love like team effort and things of that nature, and just having that military type of stigma, right? So that really was where I drew it from. Was these people are coming into our town. This boy is pussy struck over this girl. But when it came to us, we don't know these people. You guys could be devils in disguise, monsters in disguise, anything in disguise. And it's our job to protect our country or our town against anybody, even if you look friendly. So.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of direction were you given from both crews for playing those roles?
The director told me to not go easy on Princess. Princess wanted to do her own stunt and get dragged off. So I really snatched her up. When I was looking into her, when she was about to grab my knife, I really felt that she was going to grab it, and the director wanted me to like truly have a motion to where I'm telling the audience, I will shoot this woman. I don't care. I will shoot her. Because we were bad soldiers. Like when Yumiko tried to run and they hit her with the gun, we were really bad soldiers. We wanted to show that we were nobody to play with. Nobody to play with. And what we said goes, and that was the direction I was given. And then with Lieutenant Glass, James Gunn was just basically most of the time saying, have fun with it, but be serious at the same time. So he has a very, very different type of sense of humor. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was your experience like working on the Suicide Squad and The Walking Dead, respectively? Like, what has it meant for you to be part of both franchises?
I'm gonna be honest with you, it's one of my biggest talking points. People may have not seen my other films or may not ever see my other films. I mean, they'll see the bigger ones as I keep going because I got a great management team. Shout out to Bourbon Creative and shout out to Starboard Talent Agency. But it's a solidification of I was on tour one of the biggest movies and one of the biggest TV shows. And I was a new character in one of the biggest TV shows. They didn't introduce a lot of new characters. So to be a new character, it was very touching. Very touching. It's one of those things where I'll never forget it. It's an unforgettable moment that's etched into my career. I put it up. I'm proud of it. Talk about it all the time. It's even on my walls and stuff. It's an amazing thing, man. I'm so grateful for it. I love talking about it when people want to hear about it. I remember one time I was on my way to this other set in LA, and there was an Uber driver, and this nice lady. And she was like, well, where you headed? I said, I'm going on set. I got to go film this other movie. She was like, you're an actor? I said, yeah. She's like, what have you been in? And I was naming something. I said, The Walking Dead. She almost slammed on the brakes. She was blown away, right? So we're getting to where she dropped me off, and she's like, please, can I have a picture? My son is not going to believe me. He loves The Walking Dead. I said, sure, why not? So we took a picture. I even did a video saying hi to her son, telling him to stay in school and watch more Walking Dead. And that just felt so amazing to be such a keen part that a lot of people look at small, but I look at it as humongous because it was just so amazingly impactful, right? Because that's an impactful character, an impactful TV show. And it was across the masses of people. So.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Like, that's a brilliant story. It's just one of those things as well. Like, The Walking Dead is one of those franchises where even smaller roles are key. Like, there's a lot of fans that do take interest in the actors that play the, perceived smaller roles. Like,
correct.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And still, obviously, going strong with the spin offs. And,
You know how many years it's been? I did this role in 2019. It's been 5 years and it's still impactful to me. It's still impactful. So I'm blessed with that, man. I'll never ever forget those moments. And I remember those moments when I was on set with those people. Jay Courtney, he was so nice. The guy that played Ezekiel, he was really cool. The guy that played Kari was really dope. I mean, it was just, Princess was so amazing. She was funny. And yeah, man. And then the Suicide Squad was crazy because the guy that was playing the pilot was the friend of James Gunn. He's always in all his movies. He sprinkles them in. And I remember he went to the premiere and he sent me an Instagram post and he said, hey, man, went to the premiere. We're in there, but don't blink. And I went and saw it. And I was, yo, I am in a blockbuster movie and you can see me on the screen. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. So what did you enjoy the most about working on the Suicide Squad and The Walking Dead? Like, which scenes did you most enjoy filming for them?
I'm gonna be honest. On the Suicide Squad, there's this scene that got taken out. So there was this scene, right? After we dropped the heroes off, there's a imp coming towards us. And Stevie goes, incoming, and it's coming, and we're like, ah! And he goes, oh shoot. And he drops the handle and goes, balls. And it was so dope. Oh my gosh. I want James Gunn to send me that scene because that scene was so, and we filmed it so many. Oh my gosh, we filmed that scene so many times, but it was so amazing. Like, and then being able to hear the scene that they did in the cockpit with Margot Robbie, Pete Davidson, and Jay Courtney and all them, and they were talking about the whole, is that a werewolf? What kind of werewolf? No, is this a dog? He's like, what kind of dog is it? I don't know. I don't know how to breed. And they did this improv with it the whole time. The one that y'all got to see wasn't even the best one. I'm telling you, I listened to that in the front seat of that plane or helicopter and died laughing the whole time. The whole time. It was so fun. They changed it every chance they got. So it was really cool.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's brilliant. So what are your favorite memories from your time working on the Suicide Squad and The Walking Dead, respectively?
Margot Robbie coming in late and actually doing the late of the scene. Jay Courtney taking the time out to talk to me right before I rapped and just saying good words to me and things like that nature. And then The Walking Dead, man, it had to just be the treatment. They just treated me like I was a main actor. Like they really did. It was unbelievable, man. And every time I was in the scene, it was always important to do certain things. And I remember we didn't have enough footage for that episode, so they had to bring me back again, and we had to add more stuff to it. I think that was the funnest part. But the biggest part for me, and I always say this, was being able to do the last scene of that day, having the camera just be on me. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's brilliant. What would you say were the biggest challenges from working on Suicide Squad and The Walking Dead?
The COVID test for the Walking Dead. The uniform was very hard to get used to, and the weather. The weather was pretty bad. Suicide Squad. It was the temperature. The temperature in the cockpit, because I'm in the cockpit, and of course you got the superheroes. They're in the sitting area of the plane. In that cockpit, I promise you, it was over 100-something degrees because of that light. Because the light was like just beaming in, and they wouldn't turn it off. They would not turn it off. I was burning up. So yeah, that was kind of hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, maybe they need a less hot light next time. I don't know.
Yeah, something. Can we get a temperature check of some sort? Yes.
Yeah, and plus, of course, I mean, I don't think it was as many pieces as the Commonwealth soldier costume, but
No,
even the co-pilot costume and the helmet going on and other stuff.
correct. And it was a jumpsuit. It was a real jumper at the time. Hold on, bro. Let me get this.
No worries.
Because it was a jumpsuit that they had us in that the pilots wear. So that was different. I hadn't wore a jumpsuit before. I wore the other uniforms that was given, but never a jumpsuit. That was pretty cool. They call it a flight suit. So it's one piece. So it's one piece. You get in there with your legs and you zip it all the way up, and then to use the bathroom, you basically got to get naked to go use the bathroom. So it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So outside of the Suicide Squad and The Walking Dead, you've also acted in a bunch of other projects like Grimy Situation, Black Money, Law for It All, and more. Which have been your favorite productions you've worked on in your career so far?
So, okay, I have three different answers for this, right? The first answer is the role that made my career. I will always give it to Ace from Black Money. And the reason why is because I was cast in this movie. I'm not going to name the name. And they paid me my highest bit. Like, they paid me a lot for my scenes. And the day before the premiere of the film, now I have sold this film all over the place. I got it in the barbershop, people pre-ordering. I done posts and a whole bunch of promo. And they called me the night before, the director did, and he said, hey man, usually don't do this, but casting director told me, my assistant told me, you just been doing amazing work with the promo, but I wanted to let you know that your scene didn't make the cut. We had to cut your scene out. And I remember that day, I was in Charlotte, I was renting a room at the time, and I'm sitting there on the phone, and I'm listening to it, and I'm hurt. I'm really hurt, but I can't show them, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. And I had a premiere party for the next day. Well, I already rented out a place to play the movie. So I came up with a quick text message to send to people that I had a family emergency, I had to cancel, right? Now, in this same time frame, I had already booked the role for Ace and Black Money, but we weren't filming it yet. So right after that day happened, I had 50 days before set. That 45th day, when I had 45 days left to shoot, I went into a whole nother work ethic. I created this character, I built this character, and I told myself, I will not ever let a person be able to cut me from a movie because my performance will be too impactful if they do. And that's what made me who I am today. Because I took that role, I created that role for 45 days, and I got on set and I method acted. I method acted from the time I landed to the time I left. And it took us 2 years to get it picked up. And one of the guys that picked it up said the reason why he purchased that movie, one of the number one reasons, was I sold him on the villain, which was Ace. So that's number one. The second one would have to be a movie that is about to come out. I was really out of my wheelhouse. I had to play this lover boy type of guy. Wasn't killing anybody. Wasn't being a villain. That's called My Man. It was directed and written by Laquita Langhorne. That's coming out next year. And then the third one was a horror movie that's coming out from LA this year called Intruder Among Us. And Dean Werner, he pushed me harder than anybody. And the crazy thing is we were supposed to film this movie 3 years ago, and it kept getting pushed back because of COVID, because people kept getting COVID, and because of the different pandemics that was going on. But I permed my hair for the role, grew out my hair for the role. I changed I did everything he needed me to do to bring this character to life because I'm the lead detective. And that production, people finally see it. My first horror movie, and it was amazing. The best whodunit I've ever read, ever seen, ever been a part of. So those three. Black Money made me, My Man solidified me, and Intruder Among Us spoke the language.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I mean, obviously at the time as well, hearing that you were cut from a project is like, obviously bad news, but the way you like turned it into like inspiration and used it to propel yourself forward, that's just really brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. So outside of acting, you've also done behind the scenes filming work, including as a director, writer, producer, and more. What inspired you to want to get into filmmaking as well?
2 words: Booker Snow. So my partner in crime that I was doing films with at the time, Booker Snow III. We met at a call center together. We became really good friends, and we started. He does poetry, and he knew I acted, but he was like, "I think you should direct." I was like, "What? No, I'm not directing." So I did Wish. So I acted in Wish for him first, right? Then he was like, "You already have like a synopsis of a movie. Send me the synopsis. I'll write the script, but I want you to direct it." I said, "Okay, bet. Why not?" So Holla sent him the synopsis. He wrote the script. I casted it. I did the wardrobe for it. I directed it. And I funded it with all my own money. And I remember directing it, right? Our last day filming, we had to go to this Airbnb for the last scenes. And it was like 8 o'clock. We didn't finish till almost 4 in the morning. And it was so many people like sluggish until I told them action. And they were like, "Where are you getting this energy from?" I said, "I love this. Like, I love this job. I love this career. I love everything about film. And me being the director, y'all are only gonna go as hard as I push y'all. So if y'all see me sluggish or sitting down and complaining, that's what y'all gonna do." But they didn't see that because I didn't give that to them. And I went all the way to the end with it. And I went and bought everybody sandwiches and stuff, brought them back to the house. And then Booker was like, "Okay, you did a short film. I want you to direct a feature film." Wait, what? So we talked about it. We cast it. I'm in Florida at the time. Is that Florida? No, Virginia. I was in Virginia at the time. And I was coming back to Charlotte or something like that, right? And so my grandma passed during the time that we were rehearsing to get ready to film this, right? So she passed, I took a day, came back, finished up the rehearsals. We filmed this movie. I rented Airbnb, got all the locations. We guerrilla filmed this movie. And we did it in 6 days. We did it in 6 days. And the amount of pressure that was on me as the director to make the scenes, get the scene locations, get the performances out of each person I wanted to get was magical. Now, the cameraman ended up doing some crazy, shady stuff, so that movie still has not seen the light of day. But I'll never forget the experience that I learned from that. And now I know I can direct a feature film. Now I know I can direct a short film. Now I know I can location scout. Now I know I can help with the writing. Now I know I can help with staging and blocking and all that good stuff. And that's what makes me an even better actor. So never wanted to get into it. It was his fault because he said I needed to have those credits. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just sometimes all you need is a little push. Sometimes,
yes.
someone telling you should really be doing this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I'm sorry to hear about your granny. And I mean, taking only one day before getting back to work, like
yes.
that's true dedication.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's incredible. So which have been your favorite productions you've done filmmaking on overall?
Intruder Among Us with Dean in LA was one of my favorite ones. My man was, oh man, it was amazing. We did that in Houston. That's so much fun. Black Money, man. I love how we filmed Black Money. It was a it was a lot of days, but it was hard work, man. And then Irreversible Desires to me was one of the most grueling preparations because we had an Airbnb and we all were sharing rooms. I was sleeping on my back on this little ottoman, and we were just up watching YouTube videos to just stay limber and keep our mind open. And it was a grueling movie and it was a grueling role. And we did about 14, 15-hour days. So
Wow,
fun time.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Which would you say has been the most challenging role in your career so far? Can be for acting, filmmaking, etc.
Fishnets. Fishnets, which was a self-awareness film out of DC, where we were talking about trafficking girls. And I was on set, and when they first were looking to book the role, they wanted a creepy uncle, but they didn't want a creepy person. So they wanted a guy that wasn't creepy that they could make creepy. And I remember being on set, and the girl playing my niece at the time on the film, her mom was there, right? And not to get too personal with her story, but basically the mom had similarities to the character, and she had a very reservation about this whole production. I was able to take a walk with her, talk with her, and I felt such a promise to her, and I felt so responsible to be there for her daughter during them moments. And that was a very hard film for me because I wanted to get that message out, but I knew to get the message out, we had to make it look grueling. We had to make it look very nasty, but nasty and tasteful at the same time. And that was a very hard role for me. Very hard.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely.
Then I would say the other one was Irreversible Desires because I don't do roles where I'm portrayed to be something I'm not. And the reveal of that film, I had to change a lot of wording to make it comfortable because my little brother at the time, he was the lead on the film and I just wanted to help him out. That's the closest I would ever get to that line morally. And that was a very hard thing because I had to make it believable. And then I would say the last one would be, what's that one? Intractable. Intractable because D-Lo was very complex. And that was the first time I had to really do my own stunts in a way. Like I had to I had to really do a lot. But no, stop. Wrong. Text me when you get home was crazy. I was really grabbing women and throwing them in trunks and chasing them down. That was hard. I was like, let me tell you something. Serial killers are crazy because there's way too much energy and work. But it was like so surreal to the point where one of the scenes, I'm chasing a girl in the park. And the momentum of me grabbing her and her fighting, she threw me to the ground. Like that was like really, those girls were really taking it serious. And I really, it was one of those type of productions where I was like, man, this is a hard role to get behind. But once you see it and how it looks, it was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth it to get the word out there, to get people to stay aware, man, to stay aware. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And my final question for you, Quasheem, do you have any upcoming acting roles, filmmaking projects, or any other projects you'd like to talk about?
Yes. Housekeeper 1 just came out. It's on Tubi. I will be in Housekeeper 2. You guys will be able to see what character I am in that. I just finished a movie called My Man, where I am the lead guy, and these girls are all fighting over me. That was fun. An Intruder Among Us should be coming this year. Another project, The Code, I'm producing that. Another project called what is it? Shoot, what is that one called? Is it the night? Not Night to Remember. It's oh man, what's that one called? Hold on, let me think of that one. Oh my goodness, I'm looking right at it. It's called Something Into the Night, but it's with me and Dean and Werner. It's another horror movie. I'm sorry, Out of the Dark. That's what it's called, Out of the Dark. And that one is a good one that's coming. It's coming next year. And then I got another one called Deceitful Air. That's coming out. I'm finishing filming that one. And I just did a vertical short film in LA. So yeah, man, I'm excited for what's to come. There's more stuff coming, and that's currently what I got on the docket.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Fantastic.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'll be remiss. I'm in San Antonio. The reason why I'm here, there's a project called Coach Paul that's going to be on the Hero Kids Network, which is a gospel-based, Christian-based new kids network where I play a coach. Basically, what we took is the Apostle Paul and made him into a coach. And that is a project that is coming soon. I would be remiss if I didn't say anything about that one. That is a huge one. I'm very excited about that because I love kids.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. So that's all of my questions for you today, Quasheem. It's been a pleasure talking to you on the podcast.
Been a pleasure too, man. Thanks for having me, man. Love to come back. Thanks again. Everybody that's watching, thank y'all for supporting Ruari and this great podcast channel. And keep looking out for me. If you want to look up anything with me, just type in my name, Quasheem, Quasheemd Herring. I'm the only one. You can catch me on IMDb and on Instagram. That's most of the ones I'm on. And thank y'all so much for tuning in, man. And it's God's work, our hands. I'm always about peace and prosperity, and bless up. And it's 2 words. And my company's CheckMate. Check that out. And I always say, I only got 2 words for you, CheckMate.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And hopefully we can talk again sometime.
Yes.
Yeah, so I look forward to talking to you again, Quasheem. Thanks again for joining us today, and take care. Bye.
Salute. CheckMate.